Greetings everyone and welcome to another week of BlastCast. I am Jarus and once again with me is my bastion of common sense, Lightning Dragon. Of course this week, ATV and Happy Hour both covered the 2.0 system for all of our fun interactions with the ships, and they're kind of designing that stuff from the ground up. And if you have not seen this week's Happy Hour, this is one of the ones you should actually watch. It was very entertaining, very interesting, and a lot of good stuff in there overall.
You may want to watch it with terrible YouTube subtitles and the sound turned down because
That's
the
true.
sound
Their audio
quality was
their
all over
audio.
the place.
Yeah, their audio was up and down. It wasn't very solid, but the information was good. So there's a few snippets on this that we kind of want to go over, and nothing too particular. I'm not just going to regurgitate everything that they talked about. There was a few things that they mentioned that kind of interested me. One of the things they talked about was a navigation beacon system, and basically what that is that, and they mentioned it like the way you would deploy a mine, which brings up more questions like mines. No, basically you drop off a beacon, and these beacons can be hacked or destroyed, but they set waypoints for people that they can either find your current location or set up a meeting location for later or whatever, and these are going to be used so that's how players are going to basically get together. I am at this beacon, here's the frequency or whatever, follow this beacon and come to here. So I'm interested to see how this is implemented. I'm curious about the size of the beacons. I'm curious, is this something that you can carry around on you? Is it, I mean, I don't know, there's a lot of different things about it, but once again, they said mines, so...
I don't know if mines would be an accurate term. I mean, if this is something that any ship can carry, even small fighters, they'd have to be like tiny probes or something, like a size of your cell phone, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
I personally have a problem with the you can destroy them part, because this is an internet game, right? And I've been playing a lot of GTA recently, and you know the entire thing is if you play in a public area, people will just blow you up because you're there. So beacons, oh, here's a beacon, I'm going to blow it up because it's here. They don't have to have any justification, any reason. So you could lay out, you know, this really intricate beacon path and like, oh, I'm here, you know, this is this amazing place. It's all on lockdown, what is a scrambled frequency or whatever.
Yeah.
And someone will stumble on it and go, hey, look, a beacon, and blow it up because it's there.
Yeah, I wonder if there's going to be a way to basically you can't find them unless you have the frequency, meaning specifically the exact direction. You may be able to find a more generalized direction, like there's a low-level broadcast coming from that rough direction, and with enough work with triangulation, you might be able to find its exact location. But I hope there's some sort of system out there that's going to keep that from being just instantly honed in on by other players, because as you said, trolls be trolls. And yeah, so other than that, I think it's interesting. It's an interesting way to approach it, and it kind of goes along with their lore of, like, you know, they have the data that's transmitted from system to system goes through relays, and then gets transmitted through jump points or transported on ships directly. So it kind of makes sense that when it comes to locational data, that there's something to transmit it as well. It just kind of smoothly blends into that. There's not going to be any security for 3.0. No keypads functional, but on the upside, people entering through the glass on the outside of the cockpit and or the turrets is not going to be a thing anymore. So that I'm happy about, because I've had so many ships on the landing pad that I'm about to get into, and suddenly yoink, and someone just kind of goes off with my ship, which of course I get my vengeance on them by quickly dashing inside and resummoning my ship, probably leaving them floating as a body through quantum space. I don't know, but I get tired of having to do that. So I'm glad to see this come in, but you probably won't see the keypads working no sooner than 3.1. If it comes out sooner than that, if they get it out in 3.0, I would be pleasantly surprised. Now, the crux of what caught my attention was about the MFDs and how these are going to work with the 2.0 system. What was interesting to me was a couple... Their emphasis on really wanting multi-crew to have and retain certain advantages. One of the things that they kind of talked about is that certain functions on these MFDs are not going to be hotkeyed. there's not going to be a button on the keyboard, nor will you have the ability to. So even if you have something like voice attack, you're not going to be able just to say something X, Y, Z or whatever, and then it does it. So they're trying to make sure that to access the more complex functions or features, you actually have to look down and you have to play with the system settings, or you have to have a Rio seat operator or another crew member actively performing those tasks. Which I thought about, the Super Hornet, which is going to give that one, if you think about having a second player in there, right, actively managing your shields and your shield directions and power and all the weapons power and all that would be nearly impossible to do in the current pacing of today's game. You would need to have a second person on there. Now, that would give the advantage to the Super Hornet against the normal Hornet because of the ability for that Rio operator to actively adjust all those systems. The problem here that I'm seeing is that now the pacing in combat in Star Citizen is extremely high. And that's because the game right now revolves very heavily around high time on target, very much Twitch-based because of interactive mode. And so utilizing any of these systems at all once combat has been engaged, since you're pretty much, for the most part, in a face-to-face strafe match, anytime you have two fighters engage one another, I think people are going to be irritated with that. I think they're going to be. I think it's going to be one of those things that they're going to have to revisit their pacing again, and they're going to look at it and they're going to come back to the same thing. They're probably try to lower it down and then hit the IM wall and have to raise it back up again. So I'm curious to see at what point the realization will kick in Lightning. At what point will they go, man, every time we slow this thing down, we always have to readjust it back up because of interactive mode. I wonder if there's something we could do about that.
Oh, gee, I don't think so. I think the game will just start over from scratch.
Yeah, let's just start it all over. But this is just the surface of the complex systems. I mean, this is just interfacing with the buttons and things on your screen. This doesn't even get into the repairing and taking things out. You can't have all that stuff and combat be over in inside of 30 seconds. It doesn't work. It's not going to work. So we'll have to see what happens with all these changes coming along. But overall, I think this is actually just something I'm really looking forward to seeing how these things affect multi-crew. Right now, multi-crew is mostly just sit in the chair and ride along for the most part, and or you can run a turret if the turrets are piped in correctly. Some turrets, when you get into them, you take a few shots and they run out of power or something like that. I think Lightning's experienced that once or twice.
What? Experience what? I don't know what you're talking about.
So yeah, not too much going on this week. I mean, yes and no. There's a lot of good information about 2.0 item system, but not a lot of what I would consider to be really awesome, amazing, earth-shattering news. We're still about a week out from Evo Cati getting first wave invites. So all Evo Cati is going to get their invites, but there's going to be a bunch of new Evo Cati, I guess, coming in, and we're going to go through and experience all that fun stuff and try to get the game up and running to a degree that it's enjoyable for everyone else once it hits the PTU. Now, it's a very interesting experience, and I really hope some of my listeners out there, they manage to get into it. If you do, and you get into Evo Cati, drop me a line. Maybe we'll get together and we'll test together. All right, guys. Well, as I said, this is a pretty short BlastCast this week. There's really not much to talk about. It's kind of a dry week, but
I think it's just kind of crunch mode right before 3.0.
Yeah, exactly. It's what it is. It's crunch mode. I just wanted to go over some of the thoughts that I had about Item 2.0 and let Lightning sit there silently in the background, stalking my every word. So, anyway, guys.
There's not much for me to say about this. I mean, they showed off a whole bunch of Item System 2.0. We've already talked about it a whole bunch. I know it's going to be good. Fighters probably aren't going to be able to utilize any in-flight repair things. That's why they have
or the MFDs very well. Yeah.
But the thing is, the large ships haven't really been tested as far as combat. I mean, have you flown in your Connie and run into another Connie and gone one-on-one with them?
I hate to say it, but the combat right now when it comes to multi-crew ships is a real poop show.
Yeah, I mean, because the turrets don't work, so no one flies them.
Turrets don't work. It's just a mess.
You can't test them when 50 to 100% of the ship, combat-wise, doesn't work.
Yeah.
And armor values, I'm pretty sure we still don't have armor values for
no, just a
90%
Hornet
of the ships. Yeah,
yeah.
It's the Hornet and maybe like one other thing that I can't think of right now.
Yeah, I
so
think Hornet and the Gladiator have it. I think it's about it.
All we have is shields and hull points, and all that stuff is going to have to change when they go for the balancing stages, which I'm pretty sure it's going to be 3.0. I mean, it's time to get your act together, get turrets fixed to the point where they're testable, or have automated, the automated turrets. I mean, that's the next best thing, because there's no way to test this instant repair when no one bothers to fly these things. When you can have like 3 Super Hornets or just 3 regular Hornets as opposed to 1 Connie, and you get 3 times as much stuff done.
And that's why Evocati's here. We test so you don't have to. All right, guys. Well, we're going to call this one an episode, and we're going to have a Q&A session, Citizens Corner video later in the week.
TM soon.
TM soon. There wasn't quite enough questions, I feel, currently that I felt needed to be addressed or needed to go into to make one last week. So if you do have any other questions or concerns or anything you're thinking about Item System 2.0, please leave a question down below. We will add it to the list if we think it's a pretty good one, and we will go ahead and get into it next time on the Citizens Corner. We'll catch you later.
Bye-bye.